Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
We're on Chav Ches 28, Amud Aleph, Yevamos.
Oh, Kenny, you decided to come back.
Hi, Kenny. So Lema Lake Zer Dilma Kodim V'Cholos.
Good evening, Doc. Where
Hi.
are we?
We're on 28A, Chav Ches.
You know, I had Corona all week.
You had Corona. Wow. And
Still, can you believe that?
what were your symptoms?
I had a pretty bad cold. I was exhausted. I had to cancel some of the night functions I had, but I couldn't even get on the Daf. I was just like, I slept 10 hours a night for 3 nights in a row. That was it.
Wow. And were you in,
that's-
where do you think you got it? Were you in a crowd?
I'm always in a crowd. Shul, gym, people, weddings. I don't know.
Are you feeling okay now? Did you lose your sense of taste, smell, or anything?
Never lost the sense of taste. I always had an appetite. Everything's fine. I was better, by Wednesday, like getting better Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I had to fly to New York Sunday. And I'm back.
Did you take the pills? The Pfizer pills?
No, but I've been vaccinated twice and boosted.
Okay, that probably helped.
Whatever.
Probably helped.
Is what it is. It's fine, but I'm
Okay.
fine. Thank God. Now I'm
Thank
fine.
God. Kav Ches. V'lema Lake Zer Dilma Kodim V'Cholos Rishona B'Reish. Remember that if the chalitza happened to the second, then one of them can marry the first. So maybe we don't allow any. We have to do chalitza to both because of the gzeira. Or it says v'lo misyabmos knami the like a din yibum acha klal. It's not a gzeira. It means there's no yibum. V'lema Lake Zer ShiurimYevamos. Maybe there's 2 brothers, but one of the brothers will die, and if one is miyabim, one of them asr levatel Mrs. Yevamim, then the other woman might fall to him. He's already married to the sister; he can't marry her, and you're being mevatel yibum. Rabbi Yochanan lemisa lo chayish. Worrying that one of the other brothers is going to die, we're not choishish for that. Leimalei Rabbi Lazar hidamar kivin shamdo lav shachas beiser nesar lav ilamis. We yesterday learned a shita that when a woman falls, she's beheter, and then she becomes usher because the sister fell, and then she becomes heter again. You can do yibum. Rabbi Lazar says, if you've ever had even 1 minute of isser, you're forever prohibited. So the Gemara says it can't be that. I mean, to say for Rabbi Lazar, Rachel love Rabbi Lazar. Since the next Mishnah is going to tell us that sheet of Rabbi Lazar, the Reisha cannot be Rabbi Lazar. Now, why didn't he answer the Nemalu Denofel B'Vasachas? We were learning that the Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, first Reuven died, then Shimon died. So the women fell sequentially. So there was a Rishoina, then there's a Shnia. But if Reuven and Shimon died the exact same moment, then it's always going to be Asr to be miyabim them because they fall at the same time. It's Achazuku Kaso. And it's the sheet of Rabbi Yosef Lili Domer Efshel Tzamtzim. Rabbi Yosef Lili says that 2 distinct events can occur simultaneously. The Chachamim argue and say they can't. But maybe the sheet of Rabbi Yosef Lili. So the Gemara says, Lo Yisosam Lon Tanek Rabbi Yosef Lili. Our Tana is not going to learn its Mishnah like a Das Yochid, like Rabbi Yosef. Maybe the women got confused, and maybe there was a confusion. Yes, Reuven died, then Shimon died, so there was a sequential falling, but we don't know which one fell first, which one second. So therefore, misafek, we have a problem to be miyabim both. Well then, ihachi hainu diktoni kodmu v'konsu yotzi. We said in the Mishnah that really they should give chalitza. But if they went ahead and got married, we don't let them stay married. Bezdin forces a divorce. So Bishma Rishoina.
You could make a whole probability theory out of all of this. The probabilities are so crazy over here.
Well, no, here the Gemara talked about the case where the brothers didn't ask Bezdin. And
Yeah,
they
but
went
they,
and
but
they went ahead
but
and married them.
but they died. They died at the same time. I mean,
No, you're talking about the case of Reuven dying at exactly.
yeah,
The Chachamim hold it can't happen.
right.
Only
So
Rabbi Yossi Aglili holds, and we don't. And the Gemara said, well, the Mishnah is not going to be like Rabbi Yossi Aglili.
okay.
Why can't we
However-
say there was no kedushin? Do we say the chalos? The kedushin was chalos if he did a beiser?
This would not be a chalois beiser in the case. It wouldn't be an erva. Remember, achos zikukaso is a zika's drabanan. So when two sisters fall, and now like you have zika connecting the two, that's only midrabanan.
So the
it's not-
kedushin
it's not-
chal.
the kedushin is chal, and then you would need a divorce. And that's what the Mishnah says. If they went ahead, kadmu v'konsu yotziu. So bishma rishoyin amin leiman shayilach. So I understand if one of the brothers married the first wife, they would say who permitted one of the brothers to marry? It's achos zekukaso. Ela shnia, but the other brother marrying the other woman after the first sister got married or had whatever chlitza or yibum could say chavroi shnia yibim because ana rishonim yabim. Maybe the other brother was miyabim the second one because remember they're confused who's the first, who's the second, and I'm the first one, so you can be miyabim me. So in fact, Haina de Carmelite Achayis Ein Yodeh Mishanan. That's why Rav Yochanan didn't understand our Mishnah because we have no answer for it. Tanat, we learn in the Mishnah. When you had two sisters, Reuven, Shimon, Levi. Reuven's sister married to two sisters and other wives. And then Reuven and Shimon died. We said, Haisa Achas Ben Asur Alecha Disur Erva. If the remaining brother that the women fall to, for example, Reuven was married to Levi's daughter. So the two wives are falling to him. One of them is an erva. Asur ba umuter b'choisa. So of course he cannot do yibum to his daughter, but he can do yibum to the sister. It's not going to be a daughter because it's not a daughter. It's like a mother-in-law, let's say. Mother-in-law and her sister. So he can't marry the mother-in-law, but he can marry the mother-in-law's sister. Because since there's no zika, because it's nisur erva, there's no problem. There's no achay ziku kaso. There's no sisters through zika because there's no zika to the woman that's an erva. Vasheni asur b'shteyim. And the other brother, Yehuda, these are two sisters. There's no erva to him. So he can't be miyabim either one because it's achazuku kaso. This is all fine and good if Reuven was married to the mother-in-law and Reuven died first and the mother-in-law falls first. Now, Vamai, why Leiku Chosin, let the son-in-law, right? Let Shimon, or let's say Levi is the son-in-law. Let Levi go ahead, liyabim hachteina chamoisa bereisha. And then the Shimon dies, right? So there's another woman that Levi can be miyabim first. That's not the mother-in-law. And then the mother-in-law to have it chamoisa l'gabi yidich. Kivam shehutra v'neser v'chazer v'hutra. Like the case we learned yesterday. First there was a heter, and then became usher when the sister fell. And then when the sister is miyabim, she's free and clear. So Amar Papa can go to nafla hachdein chamoisa bereisha. It can. The case was that the non-mother-in-law fell first, so you can't come up with this teretz of how to get around it. Rabbi Yezer Oimrim Beis Shammai Oimrim that there was machlokes. Beis Shammai said that you don't have to force a divorce because he permits the tzara. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Shammai Oimrim Yikaimu. They can stay married. Ubeis Hillel Oimrim Yotziu. Force a divorce. Rabbi Shimon Omer Yikaimu. And Abba Sholem Rekala Yalem LeBeis Hillel B'Dover Zeh. And Abba Sholem Beis Hillel was lenient. It was just the opposite, according to Abba Shol. That Beis Hillel says Yikaimu. So Reb Shimon Kaman, Ike Beis Shammai, and Rabbi Eliezer. Who's Reb Shimon going like? If he's like Beis Shammai, the same as Rabbi Eliezer. Ike Beis Hillel, I know Abba Shol. So what's the unique sheet of Reb Shimon? Oh, there is a unique sheet. Achikomer. Loi nechliku Beis Shammai Beis Hillel b'dover zeh. There's no machlokes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel regarding that. That was Reb Shimon's sheet. Now, we said Reuven and Shimon married to two sisters. And then they both die. And then Levi, they fall to Levi. And one of them was an Isser Erva to Levi. So, we've already learned this halacha, that the sister of an Erva, you can do either Chlitz or Yibum, because there's no Zika. It's like only one woman falling. He can do whatever he wants. So why did we have to say this again in the Mishnah? It seems to be superfluous. So the Gemara says, Tzricha, no, we needed it. Maybe there's only one brother. And then, it means in a case of Reuven and Shimon, and let's say Reuven is married to Shimon's daughter, and two wives fall. So the other wife, who is not the erva, he can do either chlitza or yibum. Fine. Maybe the lekalim is a mishum sheni. We have a third, right? We have two brothers. It's Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Maybe we should be goizer. Emelo. So we're not. We have a second brother. So we want it to be told in all cases, whether there's one brother, whether there's two brothers, he can be miyabim or do chlitza to the other wife who's not, even if they're sisters, if the other one is an erva to him. Now, what if the two sisters, one of them is not an isser erva, but it's an isser mitzvah or isser kedusha, like we said, a shnias, granddaughter, or grusha to a kohen. So where's the Anami Tanina? Well, this was learned also. Isser mitzvah, isser kedusha, choletzes v'lomis yabemes. You're not allowed to marry the achoisa because midoraisa, the other wife falls, because it's only midrabanan that we say achazuku kaso. So you need chlitza. You can't do yibum, but chlitza you need, because midaraisa there will be a zika. So the Gemara says, "Hasam iser mitzvah l'chuda." There was a case only of iser mitzvah falling, but here you have two sisters. Hacha iser mitzvah v'achoisa, right? Reuven and Shimon die. They're married to two sisters. And one of them is Nisr Mitzvah to Levi. So the Gemara says Levi can only do chlitza. Now, why is this a chiddush? Maybe the Isser Mitzvah will be so strong, it'll be like an Isser Erva and there's no Zika. And maybe he could be Miyabim, because Kamash B'Lah, no. There's Zika Drabonon, and therefore you can't be Miyabim her, because of Achazukukos, you need Chlitza. Why not let him do Yibum? Kivin to Midaraisa Ramya Kameh. Midaraisa, there is a Chiyuv Yibum. But now there's Zika between the two women. Kapoga Ba'achazukukos. You're living with the sister they're related through Zika. And maybe Sakadaitach Mishram Mitzvah Ovid Rabbanon. Maybe the Chacham say can do Yibum because of the mitzvah. Kamash B'Lah, you can't. Then we said, Haisa Achas Mehem. Let's say you had Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. Reuven and Shimon are married to two sisters, and one of them is an erva to Levi, the other one's an erva to Yehuda. The Mishnah said they could cross-pollinate. Each one could marry the other wife, the one that's not his erva. So Hasu Lamali, this seems to be superfluous as well. Hainuach, Mali lechad, Mali letrei. Does it make a difference 1 versus 2? Tzricha. Yashmina Hasan, Mishum de'eki sheni, Mishum de'eki sheni demuchach. We have a second brother. And the people see that we're not allowing them to marry because of achazu kukoso. But we're matter to one of them. But in the case of only falling to one brother, maybe Amalo, we wouldn't say that that you can cross-pollinate. Here maybe we see very clearly, but in the other case with one brother, maybe lo tzricha, so we needed it. Then we repeated Zuisha Amru Achoisa Shiyavimto Choyletasoi Omis Yabemes. Again, my Zui, this is the case of it to exclude what? It's only when it's an Isser Erva to one and an Isser Erva to the other, but in a case of Isser Mitzvah Lazeh, no. So Gemara says, we just learned Isser Mitzvah and Isser Kedusha. Hasu Lamali. I knew Hach, it's the same case. Mali Lechad, Mali Letrei. So, Ma'odesem Akila and Rinon. Oiki Isser Mitzvah B'Mokim Isser Erva. When do we not substitute an Isser Mitzvah for an Isser Erva? Hecha de Ikla Migzah Mishum Sheni. When you have the reason for the Gzeira. Aval Hecha de Lekla Migzah Mishum Sheni. But if there's no reason for the Gzeira with the other brother, Eim Alahayu Kim Ne Isser Mitzvah B'Mokim Isser Erva. Each, for each brother, the Isser Mitzvah will be like an Isser Erva. And therefore the other wife could be Miyabim. Kamash Blandet, no. Bekulan ani koyer ben asur lezeh muteres lezeh. Ve'achoyso shkishi yivimto echoletes o misyaberes. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, and there's Levi and Yehuda are ervas who are married to Reuven and Shimon. We say these dinim. Every case in our Mishnah, all 15 cases of the erva, it works. However, Rabbi Yehuda metargem mechamoisa ve'elech, only from mother-in-law on, and not the first 6, like daughter. Aval shisa babi dereisha lo, my time. Kivin debitable ein sinu mishkachas lo, ben sinu lo mishkachas lo. That case of these kind of ervas falling to the other brothers could only happen if one of the brothers raped a girl. And then they could have a daughter that's marrying the other one. But you can't marry, you couldn't do it b'nesuin. And therefore, b'nesuin kamai b'oin sinu kamai, Rabbi Yehuda will only count the cases that are legal, that can lead to Levi and Yehuda or Zvul and Yisachar marrying ervis of all these brothers. However, Abai metargem av bito manusoso. He includes that even if one of the brothers raped a woman, and has a daughter, and one of the other brothers married that, not married it, raped, and then had a child. Kivan dashkuchi mishkachas, like can occur. He looks at all the cases, whether it happened through rape or whether it happened through marriage. The only one that won't occur is Eishes Achiv Shlahai Ba'olam Alo. However, Kivan Dalib Rab Shimon U'Di Mishkachos. Remember, Rab Shimon argued with the Chachamim. He had certain cases where Eishes Achiv Ba'olam could miyabe, but Alibat Rabban Lo Mishkachos. Won't word Eishes Achiv Shlahai Ba'olam that because there's never going to be any children born. He wasn't born when Reuven and Shimon died. So it's an impossibility to occur. And therefore, beplukta lo kamayri. Now, there's a fourth way. Rav Safra metargem, it can work if you have 6 brothers. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun, Valibid, Rab Shimon. When it happens, according to Rab Shimon, v'simonech meis nolad v'yabim, meis nolad v'yabim. Remember, Rab Shimon held that if Reuven died, and then Yisachar is born. And then Shimon is Miyabim, Reuven's wife. And then Shimon dies, Mace. And then Nolad, Zvulun. Zvulun sees everything beheter when he's born. V'yibim. And Yisachar went into Miyabim. Reuven v'Shimon nesuin shtei achayos. And here the Gemara explains. Reuven and Shimon married two sisters. Levi and Yehuda nesuin shtei nachrios. Levi and Yehuda married two strange women. Mace Reuven nolad Yisachar. Reuven dies, Yisachar is born. V'yibim Levi. Now, Levi is Miyabim, Reuven's wife. Then Mace Shimon nolad Zvulun. Shimon dies. Zvulun is another Eishes Achiv Shloya Boy Lamo. V'yibim Yehuda. And Yehuda is Miyabim, Shimon's wife. Then Mesi Levi Yehuda. Remember, both Yisachar and Zvulun saw Levi and Yehuda with wives already that had they were not Asr Dika wives, according to Rabbi Shimon, because they were born after they were Miyabim, those women. Mesu Levi Yehuda below Bonim. V'nafalu kami Yisachar Zvulun. Ha'asur l'zeh muteres l'zeh, v'asur l'zeh muteres l'zeh. The one that is Asr for one as an Eishes Achiv Rabbi Lama will be mutter to the other one, and vice versa. Now, how will it work with two sisters that one of them is an erva? Lama liyibim Yehuda. Why do we need Yibim? Why do we need Yehuda to be Yibim? Below Yibim Yehuda nami mishkachasla. Mishum tzar, because there's a co-wife. Ha tinich tzara. Fine. Tzar tzar Michael Meimar. How would you have a wife of a co-wife? Kagon dehadav Yibnu nami gadva asher. You have a seventh and eighth brother. And then if they fall to them, that'll be a tzara de tzara, the co-wife of a co-wife. Mishnah. Shloisha achim, shnai men nesuin shtei achayos. Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven and Shimon married to two sisters. Or Reuven is married to an isha ubita, right? Reuven is married to a woman, and Shimon is married to his daughter. That's not a problem. The problem is, if Reuven and Shimon die, you're not allowed to marry an Isha Ubita. So it's two ervas. Can't marry either one, because you're going to be Zekukoso. O Isha Ubaspito, O Isha Ubaspino, or a wife and the grandchild. You're going to have the problem with Achaz Zekukoso again. You can't do Yibum. Rab Shimon Poiter, Rab Shimon says you don't have anything. We'll explain the sheet of Rabbi. Like we've learned all along. If one of them is Asr be'erva, one of the sisters, then there's no Zika, so there's no Achazukukasa. The if she's not there. So the sister can be Miyabim. However, if the relationship is Isra Mitzvah, Isra Kedusha, Choltas Shalom Yavlos. You can only do Chlitza, not Yibum, because it's Poigeh Achazukukasa. Tanya Rav Shimon pointed b'shtei min achlitzu min hayibum. Shenemar v'isha lachaysa lo sikach litzror. B'shah shenasu tzor zu lezu. Lo yelil chalakukhin afil v'achas mehen. When they became co-wives by falling together, you're not allowed to have kiddushin with either of them. Then we said, Haisa achas mehem erva. So hasu lamali, I know achas the same as we learned before. The Gemara says Rav Shimon Itzrich. It's a chiddush for Rav Shimon. Two sisters, we don't do chlitz or yibum. Ligzor mishum shtei achayos ta'alma. Maybe we should make a regular zera by other sisters. Kamash one that we don't. Okay. So Mario, I'm going to hang up and call right back. Okay.